Hello and welcome to another KurtzPel video. Today I am going to share with you another Blazing Blade Calamity fight, but this time we are playing both a Breaker and also Slayer. So previously I did show you guys a beginner sort of guide thing where I share how you can actually participate in the Blazing Blade of Calamity without burdening your teammates too much and still do significant amount of damage. So this time I'm going to show you how I would play when I'm playing that particular mission with a Breaker and Slayer. With that said, hopefully this will help you understand the boss even more, and also if you want to contribute more than just what you could in that particular video, this is probably how. So this is one of the better clips that I managed to get today. I don't have a lot of time to play today because I have work. So hopefully this will suffice. And I feel like in this clip, even though we did not win, I feel like there's a lot of tips and tricks involved, and there's a lot of things that I did pretty well, and we can kind of talk about it. So let's go. I will put another clip which we did win, and it's with a bunch of people who are relatively good. Now the problem is this is a 6-player game, so there's 6 people over here. If your contribution is more than like 16%, you are pretty much average. If it's more than 20%, you're pretty good. If it's more than 30%, well, you are somewhat carrying a little bit. So in this particular clip, we didn't manage to get really good players. However, I would like to show you guys how it all played through, and I believe there's a lot of things in between that you might not be able to notice in my first Calamity video. So just like the first video that I published, I start off with a black hole. This is to hold him and so that other breakers can hit him. Now there's one guy that either he's lagging or he loaded in late or he AFK'd for a bit, and it seems like the boss likes to go for those that aren't moving for some reason. Now I started off with a charging attack, but then once I get close enough, I start to spam all of my skills. You don't want to hold something and not use it. If you can, just use them all so that you can reuse them again. Right now the endurance is gone, so it's on to attack mode. I switch over to my magician, spamming flaming wheel and stuff. Now at this point I'm looking for an opening. Even though I'm breaking and I'm going really close to the enemy, I do not want to be facing him straight on because it's just too dangerous. So I try to go behind him if possible. So this is one of the attacks that I talked about in the first video, but it never appeared. So this is where he summoned clones. He'll lift up his sword. You see that sort of like dark smoke thing going on, and then the clones will appear and do some really damaging attacks on you. Now this part, there's really no reason for you to stick around because it's not like attacking the clones is going to do damage directly to him. So from here I actually just bailed. I know that the boss was aiming at me, so he'll probably come to me, and I just took that time to heal up a little bit. Now this is the part where again I spam all of that breaker skills and try to take him down. Now I did a follow-up on the charge attack, which is really good. In my last video where we explore all of the hammers breaking abilities, the last one and the one that I say is really good, which is the charge attack follow-up, was in a weird way over there in that video. I made it sound like it's not really that good, but that's because we are fighting against a small boss and most of the time you're gonna miss. But against something larger, you can hit quite a lot, and therefore you can do a lot of breaking damage. So over here, back to attack mode, and we killed the first boss. Now there is a trick here. I actually timed it, and the way I do it is that I'll look at the boss. The moment it disappears, I'll count to 3 and then use an ulti if I have. So over here, I'll count 1, 2, 3, and then I use my ultimate. And this will completely remove all of his endurance, and everyone can go on attack mode and therefore end this a lot faster. Okay, so I did 2 flaming wheels followed by mana ray, something very normal. Then I switch over to my breaking weapon. I use Holy Cross. Sadly, he did not stay put, so it only took the initial damage. Okay, so I did. Okay, so this is where he disappears and then he starts doing a combo that is super damaging. Now the moment I saw him disappear, I know the combo is coming, so I actually use Crusade to try to get out. Now Crusade works by where you're looking at last. So even though your screen is facing forward, if your body is moving backwards, so it's facing backwards, you'll actually crusade or dash backwards. So I try to get out of there as fast as I can, otherwise I'll probably die. And then over here, so this is where we actually saw in the first video, the floor changes color and then after that it explodes and pushes everyone out. So at this point, I know that I could not get out in time. Reason being, usually I use Crusade to get out, but I just used it, so it's on cooldown. Now the smart choice, or rather the thing that I decided to do, is to use my ultimate, because ultimate has iframes, and then I use that to prevent myself from dying. Okay. Okay, then we start trying to break his second bar of endurance. Now sometimes I say endurance, sometimes I say super armor. It's just that previous games are conflicting with my words, but I'm pretty much saying the same thing, talking about that purple bar. Okay, and that is the second boss. So at first I feel like it went quite well, and I felt like we are gonna win this, but then I'm actually contributing a lot in those 2 fights. I just didn't really notice. So over here we broke one. Now I was taking a little bit too much damage, so I built a little bit, then come back in. So what happened was this boss, when he was on one knee, he has a little bit more super armor and he's gonna get up soon and I can feel it. So I thought I could ultimate it and hopefully remove that so that he'll lie down on the floor and we can start doing more damage. But I was just slightly too late and he got back up with full endurance. So that ultimate was kind of a waste. Okay, here comes the floor. So I use my crusade to get out. Technically, that particular situation, I don't really need to use crusade, but I just felt like, let's just get out of here. Because you want to avoid fighting too close to the walls at the side as well. Because when you're fighting too close to the walls, if something happened, you don't really have a easy way to run. Sometimes the stones or boulders might actually get in the way. But it seems like we are fighting really close to the wall right now. So I saw an attack coming in, I just dodge away and come back in to try and do more damage. So I see the combo. I did not want to move. I tried to stay down as long as I can. Oh, here it comes. So again, I dodged that. Now at this point, I saw this guy, the guy that's right in front of us. He's coming towards me. And something just tells me I'm gonna die, so I might as well just spam my ultimate. So this is the part where I just use my ultimate. I'm also aiming for the guy that just used the ground thing, because If I time it correctly, it will actually remove all of his endurance. And it did, but I don't think it's due to the timing. I felt like that break was actually due to the fact that his endurance were already kind of low. Okay, now I recently changed my primary to the staff instead of the hammer. So back there I actually thought that I was holding the hammer and I was trying to charge, but then it was my mistake. I wasn't. So this is the part where we just spam as much damage as we can. Now in a weird way, if you really think about it, if they're all together, it's kind of worth using attack skills even though their super armor is still there. The reason why is because your AoE attack skills are dealing in a way 3 times the damage because there are 3 of them there. So in those situations, even though it has super armor, I decided to just, okay, I should spam here because overall collectively I'm still doing a lot more damage. Okay, and here comes the final boss. Now if you have an ultimate, you can do what you saw me do in the second, the second boss. So you kind of try to navigate in front, and then you can actually start using your ultimate the moment you see him appearing. Okay, but we do not have our ultimate, so therefore, so in this case I didn't attack because I was hoping that someone might be able to ultimate and get his shields off. Now sometimes if you do not attack the boss for a really long time, an ulti will break his shields as well. So I dodged that. I know he was aiming for me because I can actually hear him hovering above me directly and not on anyone else. So the moment he comes down, I was ready and I dodged. So I spam most of my skills trying to break his super armor, but as you can see, I only did like 1/3 of the damage. Ugh. So the problem with hammer is that the moment it hits down hard, it's a little bit hard to cancel, even though I tried with a dodge. So there goes his AoE. I use Crusade to get out. If possible, you want to use Crusade through the boss. That way you also use Crusade to break some of his endurance. Now over here I feel like I might die, so there's no harm in using my ultimate. The good thing is, even if he does block your ultimate, he'll be holding his shield up, so he will stop attacking, and that way I could survive a little bit longer and potentially do a little bit more before I bye-bye. So I spammed all my breaking skills. We managed to break his armor, and then right now I'm just right clicking. I just used a gigantic swing, but it wasn't good enough to remove his second bar. Someone used his ultimate at the right time, which was really good. Now depending on the time, if you have more than like a minute, I feel like it's a good idea to resurrect your friends. But when you have less than a minute and you feel like you can do enough damage, you might as well go on the offensive. It also depends on how much health does the boss actually have. So I used the wrong skill over there. I wanted to use my Blizzard, but I ended up using the wrong one. And again over there I got a little bit damage. It wasn't the full hit though, but it was still pretty bad. So I'm trying to get this guy up, because looking at the health bar, there's just so much. If we don't have full force, it's gonna be super hard trying to take it down. So I saw the clones coming, I built, coming back in. Trying to do some combo there but failed. So again with the dark cloud, you want to move away. Okay, from this distance, when you're at the near the side of, oh my god, that AoE, you can actually use Holy Cross, but you have to aim max range. and you can hit the boss. Okay, we are running out of time. I'm dashing forward, try to do as much as I can before the time runs out. Right now, I already know that we wouldn't make it, but I'm just trying to do as much as I can before we all just lose. So this is one of the combo, which is really weird because I don't know if the developers know this, but the boss's combo doesn't stack most of the time. Like 80 to 90% of the time it fails. So what he does is he pushes you away and then he uses some kind of ability, he pulls you back, and the moment you come back he'll attack you. But that attack always miss. I don't know why. So otherwise I would have been dead. So now when his health, in this case it doesn't apply, but if his health is like really low, and the timer is almost done, do not spam ultimate, because the ultimate actually slows down everything else. However, it does not slow down the timer, so it's actually a bad idea. But in that situation, I was dying, we know we're gonna lose, I'm just spamming it so that I don't die. Now if you look at the stats, if there are 6 players and each person contribute equally, you should have about 16 to 17% of break and 16 to 17% of damage. However, from here you can actually see that I did most of the break out of the 6 players, and damage wise also pretty decent. So that's the end of this particular video on the Blazing Blade of Calamity, where I play a breaker and also a slayer. But if you want to see more, you can actually continue watching. I'll play a different clip, and that one we actually win. There are some pros over there as well, so you can actually see how they do. And yeah, if you see something that I could have done, let me know down in the comments. I would really like to know how else I could improve to make this more efficient. Hopefully do a better job so that everyone could pass this mission more often. Again, I do not really have a group of friends that actually play this game, which means that most of the time I am solo and I am playing with strangers. So if I can contribute more, then chances of winning is increased. I would definitely want to do that. Okay, so with that, I'll end this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
get you next time.